And we'll bring up both of the teams that will be competing today on either side. We'll see what map we go to. G2 is one of the largest map pools. Chaos is still, I think, sorting things out with the maps that they go to. Reminder that Coastline is not going to be in because every single team that is competing in a various matchup played Coastline. So we're going to go to Villa. In that case, G2 starting on defense was referred to as a map by Fabian saying, if you're not winning your defenses, you're losing. And with G2 starting on defense, you got to imagine that will help. But we also said that about the match that was just played, which was what happened? Well, we assumed that Secret and Na'Vi on Clubhouse was going to be a very heavy defender-favored map. And Secret lost their defense, and Na'Vi barely won theirs. So sometimes conventional wisdom, it's not so conventional.
G2 on a bit of a middling performance, Chaos on a never-ending run. What do you, the fans, think? The community vote still 66% in favor of G2, 25% to Chaos. That's still a tally that I don't think many would have predicted earlier on in the season, given Chaos's, middle portion of the season heading into the break.
Given the circumstances that we've seen today, I voted. I voted on the Twitter. You can go to @ESL_Rainbow6. That's SIX spelled out, not the number, but the 3 letters SIX, @ESL_Rainbow6. You can go to that and vote on which teams you think will win. And I'll be honest with you, I voted for Chaos while we were in the break. Because I do think now that G2 is going to be playing with lowered expectations, that Chaos have every opportunity now to be able to put this one away.
You can also see that there's a bit of Swedish coming out in chat. Chaos, obviously, all Swedish, and G2's Fabian, also from Sweden. So a little bit of, countrymanship, some kinmanship there.
6 of the 10 people playing, Swedish. Interesting. The vast majority.
And 2 of them Finnish.
Yeah, you don't see that all that often. Then add a Dane to the mix. Oh, Goga's the odd man out.
Goga is the odd man out.
Perpetually the odd man out, let's be honest. But going through the ban phase here, the last time that we have seen, or a couple of the last times actually that we've seen G2 play on Villa, it's been their opponents banning Montaigne. But given the fact that we know Chaos runs a Montaigne, it's G2 who have decided to go back to the drawing board. They're going to come out with different tools because G2 is the team that will take the Mountain out of the equation. They'll also take Maestro out too, and then with Maverick and Valkyrie going by the wayside, there will be a distinct lack of information. Now, despite the fact there's no Montaigne, it looks like another shield is going to be brought, but I have a feeling that this is a great bait mate from Secretly, and presumably will switch off of the Blitz. As you know, having a Blitz on the board can change the way that teams play. Indeed, that will be the case. Instead, rolling with an IQ, and a Pulse will come out from Pengu instead of the Castle. So the UMP will still be in play, just as the pistol, actually, from the German operators will be as well.
Switching over to the IQ there, probably a better call. You don't have Valkyrie cameras to worry about per se with them being banned up, but there's other utility. You could also find Pengu. Those 6 picks countering into one another. You have the IQ who could identify Pengu using his cardiac sensor at a much greater range than Pengu will be aware himself. 12-meter radius on the cardiac sensor, 20-meter radius on the electronic sensor for Secretly. The rest of Chaos, everything is looking about right. The difference being here for Chaos in comparison to the last few play days in which they've all won is that Chaos are starting on the attack. And they've been leaving attacks for a while now to the second half because that is where they come alive. Last week, they didn't even have to wait for the attacks to come around because their defenses were so aggressive last week against Secret. This week, they're going to start out an attack, and we'll see if that makes a difference for them, as they've had 2 incredible comeback from behind wins while starting on the defense, not going as according to plan, and then the attacks come in and overrule the game for Chaos.
So starting on Kitchen Downstairs is interesting. We note that Villa is a map that still has the ability for teams to run on 3 of these 4 sites and feel pretty good about their chances. We've also seen some teams have strategies that are set up specifically for the library living room and doing quite well. And that's a good start for G2. It doesn't really matter what site you're on. If you're killing somebody through a window, well, you find yourself at a pretty significant advantage. Take out Secretly. It's not going to be on the Blitz anymore, and if that information is relayed, then the 6 pick of Chaos has now been given up to the rest of G2. They're well aware of the lineup that Chaos will have. very aggressive from Fabian. And I think that with the lowered expectations and pressure of G2 in this match, given the fact they have been eliminated, you might see some pretty crazy things coming out from them because they can essentially just go for broke. They are literally just playing for the ability to finish higher up the standings.
Well, the interview we had with Fabian, I believe it was last week, Crips is also going to collect the kill onto Fabian as I talk about him. But he said that, at this point, they're just trying to tweak some things and swap up roles and see, what could possibly stick in the future. A drone is going to spot Jonas inside of the closet, and Jonas, like you said, the aggression might come out here. A flashbang will repel him, though, as he'll rip right back into the objective through that doorway towards the record player. You still have an angle here from Renewals, just outside of the kitchen doorway as he's waiting to push into the China room. He'll have a mirror to contend with, though, and that's kind of the other note about this game that's interesting is that a mirror has been allowed through for the first time today, and it'll dictate a lot of the pushes and a lot of the defense's setups in this entire match. Villa's a map that really benefits from having a mirror available. It's just never all that available. The number of times that mirror's been banned on this map. The asphyxiating bolt comes out, but Red Groove will be the one to collect the kill onto Kantaraketi. And now lots of shots missed here from Jonas. He didn't land a single one onto Renewals as he backed his arse in, and he'll be taken away from Renewals now in response. So Jonas, a misstep there will be his demise. Pengu will rip away from a flashbang as it's just Goga trying to retreat in Pengu inside of the Tarp's closet.
Renewals will gun down Goga. 30 seconds left, and Pengu is the only one there. He'll sail out a Nitro Cell, but he'll get caught by Vitalin as he's trying to come back into the site. And full control for Chaos, and could have gone for the defuse, but they kill everybody instead. And that's just as good of an option. A good start there from Chaos, who will need a couple more of those rounds to be able to establish the tempo. But I don't know if you're going to get under the skin of G2, given the fact that we will say this repeatedly. G2 is no longer in the hunt for that playoff spot. They are playing for a ranking right now. They have an opportunity. We'll see what they are capable of doing. Chaos, though, they dug themselves out of a hole that they found early on, was secretly dying, and they recovered effectively, losing one of their best gadget operators in the IQ, which strengthens the play of the Echo and his two Yokais. It strengthens the play of Pengu on his Pulse. And yet, despite that, Chaos were able to win every single gunfight. There's very minimal trade potential there from G2. There was one or two occasions, but ultimately the trade potential was better in the favor of Chaos, who worked as more of a unit together. Also, a lot of it came down to Renewals, being in places that I don't necessarily think that G2 were expecting him to be.
So if I'm not mistaken, we're going back downstairs to kitchen and dining room. We are. So G2 taking the opportunity to treat this as a scrim. Just run it back until it works, I guess. And as you noted earlier on, Fabian has once said that if you're not winning your defenses on Villa, you're just losing. Well, they lose the first round of the defense. They're going to go back and try and tweak a few things here. For Chaos, their attacking side is their better side. Universally on almost every single map that they run. Wouldn't be at all shocked to see maybe an instance in which Chaos take the first half just off of their attacking prowess and maybe have to tweak a few things to work against the aggression that G2 might bring on their attacks when Chaos are defending. For right now, it's simply a 1-0 lead. Nothing to fret too much here for G2, and the same for Chaos, not to feel too comfortable with. You got to keep replicating that kind of success over and over. Wasn't a whole lot of roam clearing to be done for Chaos last time around. They had one member upstairs that they got rid of with pretty quick ease, honestly. It was Kanto that was playing upstairs on the Legion last time around. He'll be bringing the operator out again, but Jonas will swap off of the Mute and head over to the Bandit. Not sure if that's entirely in response to those missed shots at the SMG-11, but you never know. Maybe he's just not feeling the SMG today.
Who knows? I wonder how much of this is going to be G2 try things out, as you said they would. Go for different opportunities, try to maybe get Jonas's confidence back, because it does look like he's lost it. He's going to lose it as well for this round as he gets found by Renewals and is the opening death. But I think that, Jonas is always a player who excels on LAN. But in an online scenario, the way that he's been used recently has been very interesting to me. G2's got lots of flexibility, don't get me wrong. They can put anybody on hard breach, they can put anybody on entry, and it's usually going to do quite well. It's going to go quite well. Very similar to the way that I think you could say the same of FaZe over in Latin America, or even EG in North America, if you just want to look at the teams that tend to have a lot of flexibility. But finding his groove would be incredibly important for Jonas, as they said that, jokingly, they weren't just saving strats, but We're also saving Jonas. What a beautiful shot from Crips, as Chaos are going to be able to get up every single kill in the kill feed. But Pengu's going to lay into Renewals, showing how little DPS that UMP can do as Pengu hits every single limb that Renewals has on his body. But Chaos is once again fully in sight. 2 in a row for Chaos, and this has been a pretty quick match so far, as G2 are just flailing for the time being.
And no, chat, that was not a spectator bug. That is the same FOV, the same view that Crips has every time he plays. 60 FOV Ashe main Crips. It's still impressive to me that he can pull off what he does on 60 FOV. The flicks that he has, the information that he has, all the time. It's impressive to see him pull that off with limited field of view. But nonetheless, G2 going to swap things up now. They're going to head to Aviator and Games Room after being unsuccessful back-to-back times on Kitchen and Dining. Not to be unexpected, honestly. Kitchen and Dining, a tough one. But for G2 here, still plenty of opportunity to pull this back and draw closer to an even scoreline heading into the half. For Chaos here, keep pouring on the pressure, honestly. It seems like their aggression is matching G2's, and that's what we saw from Chaos on the defensive side against Secret last week, which was, hey, let's just start gunning. Let's jump out everywhere, possibly, and start gunning. And it worked pretty well. Can't really... Oh, sorry, it wasn't against Secret. I'm not intelligent. It was against the stream.
Yeah, I was wondering, as I was like, they play Secret next week.
Yeah.
That match already happened?
I got my games crossed because there were 2 games on Coastline. One of them was the Secret and Penta game, and one of them was the Chaos and the stream game. That's my bad, chat.
Don't talk to chat like that.
You're right. They don't want to talk to me anyway, so it's all good.
That's rude.
It is rude.
Be better, chat. Anyhow, here's something a little different. G2 not going to go back downstairs to Kitchen. So they realized that 2 times in a row it didn't work. The first round much closer than the second. The second round fell apart at the seams very early, largely off of Jonas getting picked probably, 40 seconds, 50 seconds into the round. And then nobody from G2 really playing tight on site. Once again, too many off-site. Now, how many bodies are they going to have off-site here? When you're defending Aviator and Games upstairs, it's not uncommon to possibly have a body downstairs inside of the library or the living room area if you need be, because you can try and control those stairs. It's also not uncommon to have somebody over by 90. Even though 90 is close enough to the site, it is still considered off-site.
You see the shots coming out there and secretly identifying the bandit charge, but not wanting to give away his position too early. Now he'll pop open that mirror that Goga had placed. You still have the bandit battery to worry about. There we go. He's able to get that as well. You got the mute jammers from Fabian as well. And they'll all start falling. A lot of utility usage downstairs from Secretly. And you still have Goga looking down through those kill holes that Secretly had made. It's not a very large hole, though. It's just made with that 5.52 commando. You've also got Redgroove pushing all the way up to the top of the south stairs now, placing a Claymore down. It's good positioning here from Chaos to not really have to utilize much of a master take. They're more worried about the main floor on the further side of the map away from the objective. 3-man push downstairs, 2 out towards the study balcony. And you've got a lot of G2 members now stacked and almost stranded away from the objective. Their only chance for return would be through that Aviator door.
It's a lot of focus from Redgroove all the way down to 90 as well. You can see a couple bodies from G2 are going to be over on the vault side of things. And now Crips will pressure onto the 90 window. You see that for the time being, Chaos could possibly snap onto this location, but that barricaded, that banner rather, or pillar, depending on how you call it, is going to be in the way. And that's Fabian playing. You can see the silhouette of the mute. He's just going to patrol the window for the time being. You can hear the rappel on the other side of it, so all that information will be his. Fabian is good enough at making these shots, but so is Crips. Cantor Ricchetti will start things by taking out Secretly. 45 seconds left to go on the clock in round number 3. What will happen next? Well, Fabian will get spotted out. This is good work from Chaos to be able to put Fabian in a position where the Ashe couldn't get him, but the Thatcher could. He'll just creep around the door frame. Redgroove looking to see if somebody's behind the bar, and he'll catch Jonas with his back turned. Trying to bandit trick. Once again, good coordination from Chaos. There's Canto Ricchetti to pick up his second kill. Redgroove will find his second as well. His third, actually. Canto will shut down Vitaline. 3 for him. Redgroove yet another. All he has left is Goga to possibly find, but there will be no ace as Goga shuts him down using the ejected mirror windows. This cleaner scope for Renewals will be his best friend. Trying to play around the angle, but Goga prone on the ground. The Spaniard will shut the door on Chaos in their third round and give G2 their very first victory here. Renewals having no clue where the mirror was playing, probably assuming tight by the reinforcement, possibly to pop up behind the mirror window. But when you're blind on information, it's a guessing game. And he guessed wrong.
That ADS time as well on the M249 not going to be your best friend in a 1v1 where you have to make those snap decisions. Like you said, the scope, great for visibility. The ADS time, yeah, that's a tough go, especially with the clock ticking down against you. So G2 come away successful on the defense upstairs this time around, secretly going to 6-pick back to an IQ, this time off of a Finka. This is something we've seen from Chaos, is they like to flex in reveal phase operators that are just straight up annoying. We had a Blitz, then we had a Nomad, and now we've got a Finka, all being pseudo-presented inside of reveal phase, and then immediately 6-picked off and back to a more standard operator that they like to run. And Chaos on the attacking side don't really branch out into some of those, I guess, more intricate operators, like a Finka, like a Blitz, like a Nomad, like a Ying. They'll bring a Ying every once in a while on Red Groove. That's kind of about it. Everything else is pretty standard, and they like the same 5 over and over again. As soon as they have a comp that they like on a map, they don't really stray away from it unless they absolutely have to counter something their opponents are bringing. So I'm not sure if G2 have read into this, if they've already seen that this is going to happen and they're ignoring it entirely, or if those operators that are being presented and 6-picked away from in 6-pick phase are actually causing some hesitation for G2.
I feel like with Chaos, we just tend to see them settle on a meta that they want to play with, and then they continue onwards. Empire does the same thing. Chaos have not really shown, in my opinion, as much flexibility round through round, though they have flexibility on different maps, but they tend to be very static on what they bring. And I mean, for the most part, their tools work effectively. You know, you've got the ability to find the gadgets with the IQ, you can take care of them with the Thatcher, you've got the smokes on renewals. The only real downside that I see is that you're bringing a singular hard breacher, which is the Hibana, which is okay, but if you lose her, then you're in tough shape. Don't really see dual hard breachers on Villa, so it's not uncommon to just see one get brought. But only one set of smokes as well. Teams have doubled up on both Jackal and Capitao when you look at this map because of the way that Villa does tend to get played out. You can usually cause quite a bit of chaos, to pardon the pun, with a secondary set of smokes. It also means that Renewals is not going to be that aggressive because you might lose him early. Despite this, Renewals was quite aggressive for the very first 2 rounds, but pulled farther back and wasn't one of the main entries on the 3rd. Here we see Renewals in a position where he's just going to wait for the rest of his team to do their due diligence downstairs. That's going to be both Secretly and Crips just waiting, trying to figure out if they can get the common spots, which G2 is going to be playing off of from down below. Tends to be common spots here on Villa, and most of the floor on most of the sites is going to be fully destructible. Keep in mind that we're attacking over... we're attacking over on the side of the bedroom, and well, I think you got him, Jonas. I think you got him.
Speaking of got him, Crips. Swift headshot onto Fabian as he tries to flank down towards the bottom of Astronomy stairs and coming up from the basement. And now looking into the rotate hole. Crips, although he drops Goku to 10 HP, maybe a little bit more in Astronomy. Finally, Red Groove will be the one to finish him off. So the two of them tear this game so far. This mirror's been opened up and the master walls as well. They still have a mirror looking at them, facing Astronomy from the connector wall. Flashbangs come out and they won't blind Pengu. Not sure if Vitalin is aware of this, as he's going to turn the corner into what is certainly his demise. Kanto and Jonas will tack on, though, dropping Secretly from Red Groove. Crips on a trade onto Jonas, but Pengu's still playing close in the door. Has diffuser control. It's Crips against 2. He spots the swift rotation of Pengu in behind the bomb. Pre-fires, and he'll win that out. 30 HP on himself, but he can't hit the second transfer onto Kanto. G2 able to equalize narrowly in the dying moments of this round, but Fragger against Fragger, Kanto wins out against Crips. Good result there for G2 to equalize and bounce back, now drawn at 2.
So you win Aviator, you win the Trophy Statuary site, which we just played on, and now where do you go? Well, 2 losses on Kitchen would suggest that this is the safe bet for G2 to go downstairs to Living Room and Library. I can't imagine that you're going to try again on a site that has really fallen apart on both times that you've gone to it. The first time was better for G2, but the second time was absolutely calamitous. So you go to Living Room and Library. It was a site that I noted in the very first round that some teams have strats for that work out quite effectively. But by and large, I don't know if it's been developed enough, in addition to the fact that it might not just be the best defensive site on its own, to be a staple in any team's true rotation. If there's a team that's going to be able to do it, it's probably going to be G2. I think that's something that we can agree upon. They're a team that knows innovation quite well. The question is as Chaos are playing this, they have to imagine that this is the site where G2 is going to go. Pretty safe bet. If we can speculate that they're not going to go to the kitchen downstairs, then, you know, Chaos is probably on that same wavelength. For G2, more flexibility. You're going to see Fabian once again being one of the main flex players on what he runs with, going on to Castle. And he's going to put up quite a bit of fortification upstairs inside of the Aviator room.
So Castle will look to strengthen some of these weaker positions and hold off on some of the rotates. And that's, I mean, Chaos, you're still bringing Crypts with the remote detonation. You could have breaching charges on Secretly and Red Groove, but I mean, you don't have a lot of opportunities for soft breach at range, and there goes one of them. Crypts will take down or be taken down by Jonas. A swift trade there from Secretly, but he'll lose almost all of his HP as well, down to about 30 left on the IQ. So much better trade here if you're G2 Esports, although Fabian now dropped to about 10 HP as he'll have to duck back inside as well. Early goings here between Chaos and G2, rather frantic and rather lethal. We got two members gone already in Jonas and Crypts, Secretly and Fabian on one shot apiece. It'll be up to Chaos here to try and slow things down and regroup and make sure they can push as one unified front, because if you want to take 1v1s against G2, you're going to have a bad time. Repelling into the study balcony now, and it looks like there'll be another peek coming out from Pengu, but wise to the aggression from Red Groove, he'll fall back down the stairs. He's actually in a tricky spot there, as you've still got Vitaline outside the front door. Not sure how Pengu has escaped, but nonetheless he has, and only for a moment, as Vitaline will now find him, and Red Groove will find him, walk him down the top of the stairs. Red Groove will collect the kill, as Pengu just had no safe haven to retreat back to the objective.
Here's one of the biggest issues with this site is just the way that you play around that one soft wall that we get to see Renewals just utterly butchering with that M249 magazine. Very difficult for teams to be able to deal with that, especially if you can use some hard destruction on it, usually coming in the hands of an X-Kairos, because you're likely not going to put yourself in a position there with an exothermic charge. I mean, I think we saw Rise Nation be able to pull the defuse off because of the way they played around that wall, but it's oftentimes a pretty critical weak point for the way that these teams do this. Failing to land the shots, puzzlingly, is Renewals, as Kanto Raketti gets gifted a free kill onto what probably should have been Renewals walking away, but that's okay. It's still a 3v3. Well, Fabian and Kanto Raketti are low enough that they'll be dealt with a strong gust of wind that should blow through the villa at some point. And down goes Goga, the only member of G2 who is at full HP. But you have two players who are both pretty good with their guns, and if they don't put themselves in harm's way, they could possibly walk away with it, but it's not going to happen. 2 kills from Chaos will shut G2 down, even if they're on very minimal HP. And a site that we speculated wasn't necessarily the best for the defenders won't go in favor of the defense. It's 3 bodies from Chaos who still stay alive, and it didn't look like they broke that much of a sweat once they got top floor control and then moved on from there.
And for G2, I mean, you're having market success top floor on your defenses. Bottom floor, not so much, and you've already tried it 3 times now. It equalized at 3-3 for top floor bomb sites and bottom floor bomb sites. G2 will give a run at every single bomb site opportunity. This is something we also don't see every day, as a team running all 4 possible bomb sites in their defensive set. Goga finally abandoning the Mira. I guess maybe this is even just a Mira is too rigid for G2. And they'll try and flex out towards Aviator in Games Room as their final defensive stand. And they'll have it with Goga on Echo. For the setup here, Chaos, not a lot has changed. Honestly, if they're winning those aggressive stances that G2 are taking early on, as long as they have members close by, it seemed like in the beginning portion of that round that Chaos were getting a little separated from one another, but they were able to collapse back in and make this tight-knit net to make sure that players such as Pengu, who was playing the top of those south stairs, didn't have a viable escape. He just had to stand and fight, and Red Groove won out that engagement. As long as you're forcing G2 into those 1v2, 1v3 scenarios, you're going to, more often than not, at least should, walk away with the trades walking away in your favor.
I'm curious if G2 are going to be able to fix this on their attack, because one of the biggest weaknesses that we've seen of G2 when they've played online is how they haven't played together. You know, you think back to that stretch of EU Pro League where you had Kanto solo entering, seemingly without a drone. Jonas doing something similar, sometimes backed up and sometimes not. And just G2 getting beaten because of that. I think back to that Mouse matchup and also the Secret matchup, which happened on Villa, that one in particular. The Mouse one was on Consulate. And it was just G2 could not entry together. There was a time where I believe G2 even said to themselves the 5-second rule, never be farther than 5 seconds apart from one another. It's just so you can always hopefully be there for a trade. It hasn't really looked like that's been the case. Now, that's either Chaos cutting off rotations so that the G2 members can't have each other's backs in event of a draw, or a trade, rather, or it's just G2 playing a little sloppier than we're used to seeing. Who knows? But they will have that extended break, as we said. This is going to look to be a good entry, but it gets really bad for Secretly, as Kanto Raketti is still able to take away about half of the HP of the IQ, and a minute in, G2 is already down 1. Pengu's also going to give his position away, but it might have been a nice distraction for the bottom floor. At the top floor, it's going to be Goga popping out and shutting down Red Groove. They're going to lose the EMPs as well. So some of the gadgetry on G2's side will persist for quite a while and not really have to worry about any possible interference from Chaos.
So Impact tricked the walls, and again, Fabian walking away scot-free, not taking any damage in that engagement with Renewals. That M249's fire rate again being the subject of conversation as to why maybe some of these fights aren't going the right way. But all you need is one to land the headshot, and that's Fabian, who will fall in a second attempted peek. So have a member downstairs being spied upon by the member upstairs in the defense of G2. Unsure, but I imagine it's Secretly as he wants to get in underneath and do some damage. You still have Pengu to worry about inside the library, and you've got those kill holes that are stalling out Crips and Secretly from pushing in. Vitaline and Renewals, on the other hand, though, have opened up a crouch walk-throughable hole into A, right in behind the bar, which clears out a power position, and asphyxiating bolt will just confirm that no one remains in behind the bar.
Well, crouch walk-throughable. I also learned that word today. ESL, if you would like to get the definition for us. I smell some memes on the Twitter coming. Have fun with that one, Robert.
You can suck it, Parker.
I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm. Never gets old.
Don't be
Classics never die.
Yeah, that's true. Secretly is going to eliminate Jonas, and it's going to be a 4v2, and Chaos is just going to snap their fingers and push on in yet again. But Goga doing his damnedest. He takes out 2 so far in this round, under fire from multiple angles as Vitaline is getting that plant down. He's got the safety of the bar around him. Oh, but there's Goga! He's going to grab his 3rd kill. Crips is also down, and look at how low Secretly is. This is so winnable for Goga. It's a 1v1, 5 seconds left, but Goga picks up kills 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What a round for the Spaniard. Every single member of Chaos will find themselves in his crosshairs, and Goga better than every single Swede in that round, including his own teammate Fabian. G2 will walk away with 3 rounds, largely on the backs of the beautiful Echo plays, and they'll swap sides.
All right, now I'm mad. Now I'm mad because we got our little back and forth there, and then you go and cast an ace. I'm not allowed to give you those.
I took it. All right.
It's all coming up Parker tonight.
That's side swaps here.
Yeah, that's the half. It's 3-3 on Villa, which is a weird scoreline for Villa. That's not something you see every day. Typically, the 4-2 or the 5-1 are your majority results at the half. G2, flawless upstairs, winless downstairs. It'll be up to Chaos here to try and, I guess, run away with it. They are on the favorable site here. They won their 3 attacks. That should put them in a good spot. But this game has been hard to predict. Very, very weird pacing to it. You see in that round, it starts, it stops, it starts, it stops, back and forth. And that must be tiring to play in as well, never knowing when something's going to happen. You don't have your logical progressions coming through. You don't have your, honestly, your repeated events happening over and over when they should.
Crips and Secretly were both so low on HP that I believe Crips got downed by a Gumai.
Did.
And then Secretly was trying to possibly be able to get him. At the final second, not even the final second, possibly the final millisecond, was when Red Groove got taken out, or Renewals rather got taken out, and that's what really allowed Goga to continue from there, because Chaos thought that Goga was somewhere else, clearly. And it was Crips who was probably supposed to be watching the study where Goga was playing in, but Crips wasn't anticipating hitting a goo mine at the top of the stairs and being felled. If Crips doesn't fall to a goo mine, then that round likely goes in favor of Chaos, because there's no way that Goga is going to be able to watch those 2 angles with Crips possibly there to eliminate Goga. Doesn't really matter, though, because that was that round, and as we move towards this round, it's going to be an Aviator Games defense. No Mira being brought out from Chaos. We see this from a lot of European teams, is that because she is banned so much, a lot of teams just don't play with her. Oh my goodness, throw up some Kanto confetti. That is a great opening for Kanto Raketti as he walks right in, having the read, and just absolutely crushes Cripps. He's going hunting for his second, though, as Kanto is able to just take up so much ground here with very minimal information, relying on the rest of his team to possibly aid him. Looking at a second stairwell, as Kanto Raketti looks to possibly ascend to a higher level.
You got Vidalin on flank now, coming up the top of the east stairs, just momentarily trying to protect and provide some cover from Renewals. As Echo stuck at 90s. He's got Fabian on his 90 window and 2 descending upon him from the trophy connector. It's Fabian collect a kill with that. I actually don't know that. I think it's a G8 is the LMG on IQ, but Lord only knows. We only see it once in a blue moon. The Yokai will also get hit with the fadeaway shot from Fabian, so he's 2 for 2 on his style points, I suppose. Vidalin, who was droned out at the top of the east stairs, will now have to rotate back towards the south stairs, try and retreat back to the objective, but Chaos stand at a 2-man disadvantage, and it's 2 of your members with the most utility in Renewals and Cripps.
Seem to be an opposite day here where the attackers are winning quite effectively. A lot of that might pull in also to the Maestro and Valkyrie bans and just the absence of Mirror across the board. You've taken a lot of tools out of the hands of the defense. But there you go. Speaking of the defense, they'll battle back. Vitalin has been doing a great job of going undetected. And as he flies under the radar, he'll collide with Pengu and walk away much the better in that particular instance. It's going to be a vault push now as you see presence from G2 over by 90. Both Goga and Kanto Raketti are there. Fabian off on his lonesome will find Vitalin. Goga takes out secretly, but Red Groove will have to perform a miracle here. He'll be shut down by Kanto Raketti, starting it off and ending the round. The Finn will get the better of Chaos that round, and G2 will take the lead. Their first lead, in fact, of this game.
That's 7 rounds in the books right now, and it's still back and forth. For Chaos, I think they need to start quelling the storm of chaos in general here, which is G2's playstyle right now. And I know I'm screwing up a lot of these idioms here because Chaos is the name of the other team they're going against. But it's hard not to categorize G2's play right now as chaotic. Very, very little structure to it, I would say. They're clearly pouring on the gas a little bit. They are really trying to take these first-hand engagements and be the team that is setting the tone in each of these matches. And that's a playstyle we've seen do a lot of damage against Chaos before. Honestly, it's troublesome to see this for Chaos, a team that is still fighting for a land spot here, having troubles dealing with G2's, I guess, sporadic nature on the attacking side.
Yeah. Well, there's something funny about this matchup, which is the expectation game that we talked about before we even got in here, was that G2 are likely playing with very low expectations because of the circumstances involving their trip to Milan being, canceled and non-refundable. But Chaos have a massive weight on their shoulders here, essentially feeling like Atlas carrying the world uphill at this point. And there is a possibility, without being an armchair psychologist, that Chaos are letting this mental weight get the better of them. Overthinking it, realizing that this is do or die because Lestream has you essentially in a vice grip. Now, they're going to take chances despite the fact that they might have let this game slip away had that gone the other way. Fabian is going to take a seat for about 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and he'll largely, I guess, IGL his way from the grave, letting the rest of the team do the heavy lifting. You're going to risk an Echo spawn peeking. That is a brazen move.
Honestly, probably one of the better members to take down. The only better member I could think for G2, based on the last few performances, would be Kanto. But Fabian's been on one lately, picking up double-digit frags, and I think the last 3 games in a row for G2. It's been a great stretch for Fabian as far as kills and production are concerned. The team, not so much, as you noted. Not the greatest second half, tying into the not-so-great first half. For G2, though, in this round, they'll be down a member, and it will be Fabian. Like you said, risking, but this is also something that Chaos implemented last week against Lestream, which was, hey, if we start taking the fight to you guys, you're having a bad time dealing with it. And they're going to continuously pour this on. Another engagement downstairs, but it's Jonas who will it out with a faster fire rate on the C8 to equalize now. Loses about half of his health in the process, but at the end of the day, you take away one of the most powerful weapons in the defensive availability, which is the 416 from Vito.
And Vito was a very strong part of, Chaos last round, rather, when they still fell short, but ultimately, if you can keep the Jaeger under watch, then you're in good shape. And they're also going to find Red Groove now, too. So you're going to lose both of your German operators. And once again, a pretty successful entry from G2. This is the second round in a row where they've just been able to do this and walk right in. Jonas has been a big part of that. He's now going to go on to support duty. He's going to be below, and he's going to try his best to remodel and put as much pressure onto the defense as possible. Renewals will get picked up after he'd been felled, so G2 is quite a big advantage that they'll look to try to break upon for 45 seconds. But you'll lose all the skeleton keys, so Jonas' soft destruction will come to an end. He'll likely join his comrades somewhere up top, but he's done enough work to likely allow Goga to be able to pass through this study wall. And Pengu will join him at 90, just a little bit away. So G2 actually decently spread out here, and depending on whether they take these fights 1v1, Chaos could prevail.
Time ticking away for G2 as they have to collapse on the objective. 3 in the A hall, 1 at the B door. Shotgun laying in wait on the side of Chaos. Kanto, though, will connect onto Renewals, and oh no, Crips! I don't think a single bullet from that magazine connected on the intended target. Dire straits for Chaos here as that last round, extremely pivotal. Chaos need to go on a run here and win 4 in a row. It's not unheard of for this team, but now they've put themselves in a do-or-die scenario. If G2 win the next round, if I'm not mistaken, if G2 win the next round, it's over. It's over. Lestream go to LAN. Chaos join G2 in the ranks of we're done for this season. It's a bad look here for Chaos as they're in desperate times. Trophy and stature will be the elected defensive position for Chaos now as they try to keep their LAN hopes alive. In that round, honestly, Chaos did a good job of stalling time. And that first engagement, the spawn peek onto Fabian, worked really well, obviously. Put a bullet through his head, but then the subsequent engagements from there really unraveled. Tough run there for Chaos in that round.
You are correct about the points. Chaos entered the day at 21 points. Lestream at 23. Lestream picked up a victory. They jump up to 26 points. That's a 5-point difference. A draw for Chaos would put them 4 points back. That's too much given that there's only 3 points remaining after today, and therefore they're eliminated. Chaos, interestingly enough, actually sit tied with Penta right now in 3rd place as Penta has vaulted up to 21 points, given their victory over Mouse in match number 2. So you're absolutely right. This round is critical. The Swedes fall out of the ability to represent Milan, leaving the only region being Latin America with no teams qualified. We could possibly be only a couple minutes away from our 6th team making it to Milan. LATAM is going to be wild next week because of that, with the fact that you still have 3 teams in contention for those 2 spots. But don't write out Chaos just yet. They have been the best team, up until today, rather, in the second half of EU Pro League, and for good reason. But they have a really difficult task ahead of them. Keep in mind that the last 2 times that these teams met, G2 won 7-0. So, it's already been a victory from Chaos to be able to keep it closer than the previous scoreline.
G2 with this entry. They spot Vitaline downstairs inside of Kitchen, and now Kanto's going to head into the wine cellar. Actually, he's waiting for Vitaline. That's exactly where he's headed. He's headed towards the Astro stairs instead, but Kanto could play catch-up as he might want to isolate off and grab Vito. You also got Fabian now waiting for the return in the midst of Astronomy Stairs. Vitaline doesn't really have anywhere to go. They've got him pinched off. This is the end of the road here for Vitaline unless he turns the corner and wins an engagement. He's going to head back down to the depths of the wine cellar, but Kanto's left his spot, leaving a perfect hole for Vito. But at least he's killed half of the time in the process of this manhunt.
Vitaline's actually managed to find a stairwell that wasn't being guarded. Secretly will get found from Fabian, though. So whether Vitaline is going to be spotted or not, as G2's going to know to keep a couple bodies on flank. Oh, there you go. Runs right through what might have been the Claymore, just narrowly avoiding it. Not enough reach on that one. But still, 2 very big kills for G2, who are poised to be able to take round 9 off of that. Red Groove also appears to be down, so G2 will continue to just steamroll on in. Red Groove finished off, but traded. As Renewals picks up 2, the Echo performing great work, down by Kanto Raketti, leaving just Crips in a 1v3. Season on the line, spot in Milan on the line for the Swedes. 1v2 for Crips, given that Pengu has been downed. Goga's holding on to that diffuser. Crips is not quite in sight just yet. His legs might have been spotted there as he sees one body, and Goga will lose a bit of his HP. But his position might be given away now. Pengu will be resuscitated and brought right back. But say goodbye to Chaos's spot in Milan. With that round, Lastream Esports will be representing Europe as the 2nd seed in their region, joining Empire as Chaos's season effectively comes to a close. Match point for G2. Out of the run themselves, but successfully playing the spoiler here today.
Well, it was a beautiful run for Chaos. I've had a very fun time watching them make this run, but ultimately just not enough gas left in the tank to push them over the edge. Congratulations to Lastream to being the 6th team now confirmed to joining us in Milan. We await Latin America's results on Wednesday to determine who will be 2 out of the 3.
How wild is it for Latin America to still have 3 teams in the running? Nobody is clinched. Nobody. You still got 3 incredible teams. The last undefeated team is still in Latin America. I know that we talk incessantly about how close the various regions are getting, and while Latin America's success on the global stage has lagged behind most of the other regions, their success within their region is absolutely incredible. What once was 3 incredible teams has now grown to 4, and there's an argument that it could eventually grow to 5, depending on what happens with Black Dragons over the offseason. It's been great to see the progress that APAC has had, but Latin America has had incredible strides amongst the teams that originally weren't the most competitive. So with that, also congratulations to Lastream, who, to the best of my knowledge, the last time that they competed with their core being invited to an event was when there were still 3 EU spots, and it was when that team went back to Millennium, when they played in the Gamescom finals in August of 2017. Because since then, the only events that they competed at outside of French Cups were DreamHack events. I could be wrong.
Was Millennium not in Atlantic City?
Oh, you're right. They were, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Anyway, Vita's going to grab a kill here, and Kanto's been down in a frost trap while we're going through a history lesson.
I actually forgot about that entirely.
Yeah.
The most competitive LAN that we've ever actually had, by the way, I still think is Atlantic City. And it slipped my mind. I was still thinking that it was ENCE qualifying for all of them.
No. They weren't in Atlantic City.
No, you're right. I was wrong.
Cool.
Thanks for letting me know, man.
Anytime, brother. That's what we're here for. Well, it's G2 now at 1-man disadvantage as Crips has fallen, and again, our history lesson here. You could also just read all this on Liquipedia, but what's the fun if we can't flex it knowing offhand? Fabian and Kanto have been fallen to the grave. Vito's on about 50 HP, so it's still a doable position here for G2 to lock this out in spectacular fashion with some style points tacked on, but it looks like Pengu has also fallen to a frost trap. That's very unfortunate that all of G2 seemingly loving vaulting into some bear traps placed around the map underneath some windowsills. You've got Jonas now looking to throw a frag grenade in just to protect his teammate from anyone trying to flank him through Trophy. You've got a revive being facilitated by Goga, so Pengu will be brought back to life on 20 HP remaining. Still have the pulse sensor from Red Groove identifying all the members that are upstairs, but Renewals will blast one away from down below. Pengu will fall. It says it's a headshot, but it's a shotgun anyway. It was up to the floor, and there goes another member of G2 falling like dominoes.
Just waiting and watching is... This is so tough for Chaos, right? You know at this point that mathematically you have been effectively eliminated from the race, but still just go for broke, right? I can't even imagine the adversity that they've had to overcome to get to this point and how much mentally it's weighing on them. Oh! Jonas turns tail and just absolutely crushes Vitaline. And what was a 4v2 has very quickly tied things up at 2-2. Goga holds that diffuser. He can get into sight if he wants. Jonas' advance will be stopped for the time being. Yellow mustard gas. Not custard. That would be a completely different type. Jonas decides to wait on it anyway. He's going to get caught, and that'll be Renewals finishing him off. Goga had some heroics earlier on. He still holds that diffuser, just waiting for somebody to peek him. Excellent patience, but nobody's going to take the bait for the time being. He'll give his position away, and the smoke will just appear for a second, but Goga's side will be turned to Red Groove, and that is it. Chaos will take another round, still fighting for the draw as best as they can.
Well, we're just waiting on the conclusion of this game now, as all the standings possibilities have now been fulfilled, at least in Europe. Don't really have any other possible outcomes. We're just waiting to see if maybe these two teams can draw. Maybe it's a little bit of revenge tour now from Chaos. Get revenge for the 7-0 they faced earlier on, or just for pride, honestly. Why wouldn't you try to win if you could? You're still in a position where you could bring this back to a draw. And they're going to go to Aviator and Games Room in round number 11. One round away from us still going the distance in this match. But it's Fabian who will be six-picking off of IQ to God knows what. He's going Dokkaebi. And then we have Red Groove six-picking off of the Mirror onto a Bandit.
I'd like to clarify my statement from the previous round.
Sure.
Where I said about the core of this roster qualifying. What I meant was, because I know that they were in Paris as Lestream.
Yeah.
But they qualified not through Pro League. They qualified through qualifiers to get in.
Yeah.
So the first Pro League finals. But you were correct. They made it to Atlantic City. But before that, you have to go all the way back to Gamescom in 2017. It's been actually a very interesting run for that Lestream roster and what they've been able to accomplish. I think that there's a lot of people who saw a great amount of potential when they assembled, and their first real showing was at DreamHack Winter. And now they're going to have an opportunity. As right now, the 2 seed, they're not going to be able to make it to the 1 seed no matter what happens in next week's matchup. So they will be playing Fnatic or Evil Geniuses or whichever team emerges from Latin America. Right now, from my understanding, I'd have to go to the actual numbers on this one, but unless FaZe wins outright, they cannot finish first overall, because in the mini league, it would be Immortals and NiP with the most points. And then obviously if Immortals wins, Immortals makes it, right?
Yeah.
Because there is still possibility that if Ninjas in Pajamas wins and Immortals and FaZe draw, then they all sit at the same amount of points, which is absolutely wild when you consider that. So this Lestream roster is, I think, starting to actually realize its potential. It's had a good half, and now with the fact that you won't see a victory here from Chaos, at best there's going to be a draw. They will both sit at 13 points in the second half. Lestream has 13 points. You have 12 points right now for Chaos. But this is another team that has also been achieving, I think, its potential. I've been a little hard on Chaos a number of times for things that they've done in the past, but this team has really turned it around and put on, this world-beating mantle and shown up against really good teams. And despite them falling short against G2, who are, winning some rounds miraculously, that Goga clutch probably shouldn't have happened. This Chaos team has come a long way, and I think their development is probably going to continue apace heading on. And no matter what happens, I think through the end of this season. They're going to start things off well by gunning down Kanto Raketti as he solo entried, and he'll find himself right in the line of fire. You've got Jonas down below yet again, doing good work, I'm sure. As he did last time, he was integral for G2's victory on this site previously.
Now it's going to be Fabian contesting. This time from 90, Renewals will take aim, and a good reaction there from Fabian as secretly tried to explode out of the objective and collect the kill in midst reload. But no, it'll be Fabian able to equalize once again. The X-Kairos charges will also go off, as secretly could have had impact nades. Valuable and integral to impact tricking those exterior walls that Goga was trying to eliminate. Now you got Renewals peeking up now from 90. He'll finally click the kill onto Fabian, as he was about 20 HP from the prior engagement. He's still in a good spot here if you're G2, though. You've locked down a lot of site control. You've got holes in the walls, but no, there goes Goga. Red Groove with a Nitro Cell. Give it a 2-man advantage now in the favor of Chaos.
Jonas here just trying to tussle through the doorway over by Billiards. He's going to find one, but nothing really much there. Keep in mind, there still might be some stim pistols in the hands of Renewals to bring his team back up to full strength. But Jonas, struggling with the barbed wire, shut down by Vitalin, who's lost a little bit of HP. He'll put himself in danger, just as Renewals will too. Pengu will make sure that there's nothing left of Renewals. Pengu's position has been given away, and then the rest of Chaos can just collapse on him. And that's exactly what will happen. And we'll go to the 12th round.
Going the distance.
Going the distance.
Hey, man, resiliency from Chaos in a position where they didn't need to be. Again, they knew their season was done as soon as that 6th round was collected by G2. That's the end of round number 9 right there, and now we're heading into round 12. I like the performance still from Chaos, honestly, bouncing back, and now they're exploiting some of the mistakes that G2 are making, especially being on the defensive side. If this is a week 2 game, we're talking about how crazy it is and how incredible it is with it being a Week 13 game and the stakes not being as high. It's still a game where it's good counterattacking back and forth. The countermeasures between both of these teams have been interesting to watch.
Yeah. And I mean, it might not be any consolation right now, but the history books could possibly record Chaos as finishing third. That's something to fight for. Pride essentially on the line and still proving that you are capable of competing against the best of the best. You know, because you don't want to mar your record, which Chaos has a good one through the second half with a loss, when they don't necessarily need to. Mm-hmm. There's resiliency here, and I think it's impressive the fact that Chaos haven't thrown in the towel. I know that might sound strange to some people, but it's very easy to say, we can't make it to playoffs. Let's just get this game over with.
It speaks to their willingness to compete and their integrity and their professionalism, honestly. It'd be very easy for them, round 10 coming out. They're down 6-3. They know their season's over. I don't know, just sit there and let G2 take the win.
The innovation that's come out from Chaos, but more importantly, what I've been most impressed with Chaos is how one of their players always steps up in every game.
Yes.
This was a team that had a bit of a disparity between certain players. They had a couple players who would usually put in a really good effort, and then some players who might miss their shots or might make questionable decisions. This season, that has largely seemed to have fallen off. Every single member of Chaos has had a game where they have done exceptionally well and have almost single-handedly been the reason why their team has prevailed in various rounds or in various circumstances. And that just shows to a comfort here. And while a lot of teams look to make roster changes, Chaos haven't. They've stood pat. They'll lose secretly, though, as Jonas will just do things that he does on Repel as the Buck over by Astronomy window. And still the possibility for a draw, but it will get a little bit more grim losing out on your smoke. Jonas throwing a grenade down that could possibly go over towards the Astronomy desk or Astronomy stairs, but it looked like it was primed a little bit too much and will miss.
So for G2 here, good start though. You take down secretly. There goes your smoke. Jonas taking a little bit of damage. You've got Fabian and Kanto downstairs looking to isolate off this, rotate back up the Astronomy stairs by Vitaline. He's now peeking down. You can see the barbed wire rustling. Looks like G2 and Kanto are going to collapse upon him. There goes the stun just for good measure. Vitaline taken away, but Red Groove downstairs on a flank as well. We'll find Fabian on the backside. He'll have to retreat back towards the east stairs, but he's actually holding in his position downstairs, meaning there's only 2 on site for Chaos.
That was surgical the way that push was happening. Vitaline was assuredly dead because you had Jonas covering the other angle at the top of Astronomy stairs. You'll say goodbye to Vitaline and Renewals and secretly, and now Red Groove too. Crips is very limited HP and it's Pengu holding the angle. The Dane will finish things off. And what looked like quite the comeback for Chaos, despite the fact that they will fail to make it to Milan, ends up being in favor of G2, who will take a victory in the very final round, 7-5. And though their season might be over, they can still end other runs, as they did with Chaos. G2 will take the full 3 points and give Chaos only their second loss in this second half.
And for both of these teams, G2 and Chaos, they have the opportunity. They still hold someone's fate in their hands. It's just not their own.